Oh, anyone got a pencil? Hello and welcome to the Mixtape podcast. I'm your host, Mark Phillips, and every week I'll be asking my guests to make up a mixtape. I'll ask them for a title and 5 tracks. Track 1, what's your intro? What's your attention grabber? What's going to be the song that's going to pull me in and make me want to listen to the rest of your tape? Track 2, what's a song that you sing loud and proud when you're on your own in the car or the shower? Track 3, I'm going to ask them to get a little bit obscure and pick maybe a B-side or an album track. Track 4, pick a song that you would like to have played to your 18-year-old self. And track 5, pick a song that you would put on your mixtape to let the listener know you're romantically interested. Due to the music being licensed content, you will have to click into the description of the podcast to hear the songs my guests pick on the accompanying Spotify playlist. Don't forget to smash the follow button or the plus sign and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. Thanks for listening and I hope you enjoy this chat. Hello and welcome to another mixtape on this week's show. I'm joined by bass player extraordinaire Shane from Electrafuzz. Thanks for coming on the show, Shane. Really appreciate it, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic, mate. Thanks for asking. So first of all, you were very kind enough to let me use your track Resistance is Futile for the opening of all my radio shows and podcasts. It's a tune that I absolutely love. So tell us a little bit, first of all, before we get into the podcast about that track. I wanted to talk to you about the visuals as well for your songs because like the little dancing alien, like it's amazing. Like I love that. Like how do you go about is that something you generated or something someone did for you or how does that all work, mate?
Mate, well, as far as the visuals go, mate, I source just lots of stuff people that make that for use. You get a lot of it's free, but you can give a donation as well. So I'll get onto a theme, and I've got some sort of like areas. I've got some websites now that I've gotten onto that I know I can sit down, and once I've got a theme in my head, I can start working with them. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Like we're getting into that AI sort of era and everything now.
Sure,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of that out there. So yeah, I'll just start off with a theme, and some of it is from one sort of site, but I'll gather it from a few sites. Yeah.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And for anyone who hasn't heard your sort of music at all, what sort of style of music would I would maybe call it, like maybe electro funk, or is
That's
that
probably,
sort of
mate.
how you would
That's
put it?
nailed it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right,
would
okay, yeah.
say electro funk. When people ask me, I call it electro funk, electro groove. We even mentioned new disco.
New
Um,
disco, yeah, right,
yeah,
yeah, okay, right, yeah,
as in spell out NU disco.
NU, yeah, as in new
Yeah,
metal, yeah.
yeah. So, but I think electro funk is a very good way to actually describe it, buddy. Yeah.
So the new album HiFi SciFi out now, Shane. Just tell us a little bit about that. Where can we get it? What's the go? Is it going to be on Spotify, YouTube, Bandcamp? How can people get hold of the album?
Just for this month, I'm launching on the website.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we've got a few followers. So I'm giving them the chance to actually buy it rather than just putting it straight onto streaming services. Because as soon as it goes on streaming services, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I thought I'll just do it on I've just got the website up. I've just finished uploading it all yesterday. Got the artwork, and I only finished mastering it. Where are we? Friday. I reckon I only finished mastering it. I thought I'd done it, and then I'm listening to it on going to the train to work the other day from my Bluetooth headphones. I'm like,
Yeah.
Bass is just a bit hot there, and it's a bit hot here. So yeah, it was a matter of another few days of tweaking this week.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. For first up effort of mixing and mastering, I'd have to say I'm quite happy with it. Yeah.
Bit of a learning curve for you in your studio, I imagine, with that mixing and mastering and stuff like that.
Oh, mate, it's they call it. There's a reason they call it the dark art. Yeah, those dudes that master it, they're locked away in a dungeon somewhere and no one knows that they exist. They just do their job.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like on the flip side of that, there must be like an enormous sense of self-satisfaction that you've like taken that on yourself and done it.
Yeah, man. It was a big realization, funnily enough, last Tuesday when I just finished. I sat down, I finished mastering it, and then I sat back and I went, this is massive. Everything's been done in this tiny room, from the writing to the recording, the sampling, the mixing, the mastering, the vocals. Yeah, but yeah, learned some interesting things along the way. Handy things for other people who would be in my situation doing home recordings. Little technical things where you just pick up and you go, wow, that's not what I would have thought, but I'm doing it that way, and it's come out awesome.
Tracks that are already sort of out in the world from Electrafuzz, are they included on the album, like The Road?
They are, mate. So three of the tracks that you're familiar with that you've played are on the album, and then 7 brand new ones that no one's ever heard before.
Awesome.
So,
I can't wait to hear them, mate. So is that going to be available just through your website or Bandcamp?
At the moment, just for this month, just through the website. I'm not even going Bandcamp at this stage with it. I will go Bandcamp when I do the other stuff do the streaming. All of that stuff, man, like Bandcamp, Spotify, all of those streaming services. And not that Bandcamp is, but it's kind of the same thing. There's a game you got to play on it, to get on playlists, because it's all about playlists with that stuff. Yeah. And I'm so busy, mate. It's like being an independent artist and just the sole independent artist these days. I mean, Susie does help out a bit here and there, but basically you got to do everything, man. You've got to be, the writer, the keyboard player, the bass player, the guitar player, the drummer. Then you got to do the social media, the artwork, the website. I've built the website. I mean, all the artwork I do, the videos, I do everything. And then I still want to keep my chops up on the bass. I mean, this last few weeks have just been in the studio after the recording's done. I didn't touch a bass, and I like to keep myself pretty fit on the bass. But your chops, if you don't keep your chops up, they just disappear. It's and I don't have time to sit down and do algorithms and playlists and get on playlists and get my I know there's all this information out there saying what you've got to do, but there's only so much time in the day.
Absolutely, and I feel you there, mate, when you talk about that. Obviously I'm not a musician myself, but in terms of the podcast and the radio show, like I've got 2 radio shows now. Literally just before we started talking, I just posted about my second radio show that I'm doing now. So I've got, and I haven't even started on RTR FM yet, but that's going to be a third one when that starts. And obviously I book the guests for the podcast and the radio show. I do the recording. I write the questions. I research the guests. I edit the podcast. I produce the podcast. I put it out there on social media. Then I do my live radio show. I do the artwork. I do everything. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a one man band doing the podcast, and so I feel your pain, mate.
I'm on our brand new website, which when you'll see it on Monday, because the link will be there. I'm starting a blog, and I thought, well, I'll sit on the train because it's Yanchep to Leaderville, so I'll sit on the train and do the blog. So exactly that, man. Yeah. You've got to make use of your time as best you can.
100%. I'm the most time poor man I know, and obviously being a single dad and having a full-time gig, a full-time job as well as the podcast and the radio shows and all the rest of it. Every minute, every second is like, if I'm stuck in traffic for 5 minutes on a car journey, I'm like, that's 5 minutes of my life gone. You know what I mean? Exactly. That's how I look at it. I'm like, what could I have been doing in those 5 minutes? So I've just sort of, I sit at the moment on the train. That's when I do the artwork and visuals and stuff for the podcast and the radio show. We're still working on a date for the launch for the album, mate.
Yeah, I think at this stage it's probably going to be October. So we won't do a gig. We won't do a launch gig as the album's launched. That's not going to happen. It's a tough one for us. Finding gigs is a tough one too. It's unknown. It's not kind of Perth's typical music, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The
original scene. And being older, in that kind of genre. It's people are like not quite sure. So, but we'll set up a launch gig probably October, I think. I've just been speaking to a guitarist that I want to bring in today. Who I work at the music shop with, who's in a great band called Curly. It's his band actually. And hopefully I'll get him on board. And
I was just going to say to you, you're in the absolutely perfect job to come across like musicians.
Yes, man, I mean? It is. It's a good job. It is a good job for that. But a lot of them come at the kind of high cost. That's the good ones. Yeah, definitely October, I think, is what we'll work towards. But I just wanted to get the album out to get, because there's a lot of people asking about us, when that is for gigs and that. They go, oh, where can we hear you and what can we hear? So I thought it's time to just get all the music out there at the moment. So that's the plan.
Just plug the website, mate. Is it electrafuzz.net.au? Is that it?
It's electrafuzz.com.au.
Right, okay. Electrafuzz.com.au if you want to download the Electrafuzz album. One thing I did want to ask you, mate, did you put your name in the frame to get the support slot for Coldplay, or is that not
I didn't even bother, mate. I figured that I can't even get a gig at the local pub at the moment, so I got a fat chance of getting a gig for Coldplay.
Did you see the Southern River Band, their Instagram post? I don't know if you follow them. That was an absolute cracker. He was like, nah, I'm all right, mate.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, if AC/DC asked me, maybe I'll think about it.
Do you know what, though? Do you know what? It would be hilarious if Chris Martin went, no, actually.
That would be good.
You want to do it? Yeah. You want to do it? See how quickly he changes his mind then.
Mate, I reckon I would.
Yeah, no, so would I, 100%. Yeah. I've seen them live. I saw them live on St. Patrick's Day. This year. Oh man, such a good show. Like, they were brilliant, like really, really good. I really enjoyed seeing them live. I don't know what sort of criteria Coldplay would be looking for in a local band. Do you know what I mean? Like whether they'd be looking for someone who's got a big social media presence, or just musically in the same wheelhouse, or just someone they personally like the sound of. Like, I'd really love to know, like, what their sort of criteria is for the support bands.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Even better would be Last Quokka up there. That'd be hilarious.
That would be so good. That would be so good. Someone like that would be brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Trent, if you're listening, mate, because I know he does listen to the odd podcast. He told me when I had him on. If you're listening, Trent, get your name in the frame, mate. If you haven't already, you can do it, mate. Yeah. Give the music shop a plug, mate. Whereabouts is that?
Oh, okay, cool, mate. It's Concept Music, which is in Wembley.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We've been around for, mate, nearly 43 years now. And
wow.
I sort of been and gone a little bit, but I started out with Graham as a work experience kid at 15, and that's like 40 odd years ago. So
man,
it's a great little shop, and if anyone's into bass, it's easily the best. We're pretty proud of our bass section there. It's the best bass section.
Okay. Mate, I'm really looking forward to your album launch night. If you need someone to man your merch store or anything like that, just hit me up, mate.
That'd be awesome, mate.
Do that for you. Yeah.
You might even be doing our sound, Bo.
I've got zero qualifications for that, but I'll give it a crack, mate. No worries. If you just go like that, like, I know what you mean. That's about as much as I can give you. Right. Let's get into the meat of the interview and the podcast then, mate. So the Mixtape is the name of the show and podcast. So as you know, because I've already sent you the tracks, I ask you to pick 5 tracks for your mixtape, and track 1 is your intro track. So you picked "Come On, Come Over" from Jaco Pastorius. So talk to me about that choice, mate, and why you chose that.
Sure, mate. Well, I thought I'd just, if it was the first song that you got people going with, the name of the mixtape would be Forward Motion. Forward Motion is a musical term, dates back to Bach. It's about energy and promotion of energy throughout the tune, song, piece of music. Something like Toccata and Fugue in D minor, where he uses a pedal point and then he brings all that organ in. That's gone through the centuries, all the way through to Bach and bebop and Dizzy Gillespie. And it's about just creating momentum in the song. And this is a perfect example of it, I reckon. It's Jaco's if people don't know, Jacko's, one of the gods of the electric bass guitar. This track sort of like, it's from his solo album in 76. So I think it's the only vocal track on the album from memory.
Is it him singing or is it someone else singing?
No, he's got a couple of soul singers
Right, okay.
singing this one, yeah. But it starts out with this intense horn line, goes onto this G7 altered chord, goes chromatically down to E7, G sharp 7, F9, and goes into this sort of like the tradition of sort of like Wilson Pickett, James Brown, because Jacko liked that kind of sound. And then it goes into this really cool, nasty R&B groove. And he sits in this pocket in the R&B and the verse, and in the chorus he goes into this, drops it into this D9 chord with this great 16th note chromaticism, with this forward motion is happening, chromatic groove, creating lines and statements while just still doing his job as a bass player, but being very melodic, a la James Jamerson from Motown. And yeah, just creating this monster pocket. And yeah, it's what I really live for, is hearing this great groove and monster pockets of bass players and drummers that are very good at doing it, sitting just in front or sitting behind the beat and chromatic runs. And yeah, so I think this song is a great example of using forward motion to promote great groove. Yeah.
The way I interpret, like the way I look at how you just said that, like I'm not musically gifted in any way, shape, or form as you are, and I couldn't speak to it the way you were speaking it and breaking it down right then. But I can listen to it and feel it and go, I love that. Like that's doing me all sorts of favors. Like that groove and that, like you say, that melodic like way of playing. I absolutely loved it. And I remember, I think I mentioned it before, I was already aware of that track. My brother, literally maybe a month ago, sent me that track and said, like, this is what I'm aspiring to, like, as a bass player. This is what most bass players like. This is what we're all aiming for, is for this level of, like, groove and like you say, sitting in that pocket. I didn't know much about Jarko, and I did a little bit of Googling and research, and he got beaten to death at like 35 years old or something by a bouncer.
Yeah. It's the saddest story, man.
Yeah.
It's a sad. He's like a genius. But he did have a tendency of rubbing people up the wrong way. But back in that time, bipolar or depressed, or not depressed, but bipolar was not really well, researched or even stated. And Jacko probably definitely had it. And on top of that, he had I think he had a pretty decent sort of like when it got really bad. When that happened, he was like living homeless.
And
I think he may have even had a coke habit. I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah, what I was reading was he had some mental health issues and a drug habit, and like undiagnosed and untreated sort of bipolar disorder. And I read that night he'd crashed the stage at a Santana gig or something in Florida. And he got kicked out and gone looking for somewhere to and just had an altercation with a bouncer who was clued up with the old martial arts and came off like pretty badly. So that was a tragic story. I didn't know that, but I was aware of him, but I didn't really know much about his life story. But it's a movie waiting to happen, I think, to me, like his story.
It is, mate. It is,
and it hasn't come about yet. But maybe one day.
There's a doco out there now that's been made.
Oh, okay.
There's a doco, I think. Because like his bass, which was a old fretless jazz Fender jazz bass, went into sort of like got found again. I think the guy from Metallica, the bass player from Metallica, came across it, and kind of the interest and momentum in him started all again. And I think there is a doco out there on him now. Same similar sort of story, even though he's still alive, to Rodriguez. Are you familiar with Sixto Rodriguez? Similar sort of story, like as the doco came out, and now all of a sudden he's charging $300 for a gig at King's Park. So track 2, I asked you to pick a song that you sing loud and proud when you're in the car or in the shower. And you picked House of Holy by Client Liaison. It's another band I was vaguely familiar with, but not really familiar with the track. Big Get Lucky, Daft Punk sort of vibe to that track, I found. Most definitely, man. That's pretty. It's funny you should say that, because Niles Rodgers had a big hand in the Daft Punk in that album.
Sure. Yeah.
Whole
Yeah. Yeah.
album. And to me, this song reeks of Nile Rodgers, Bernard Edwards. It's got that. Again,
Sure.
I'd call this new disco. I love disco. I love banging
Yeah.
disco.
Yeah.
And this song is definitely banging disco. Yeah, they're kids from Melbourne. It kind of opens up with this haunting kind of gospel type vocal thing with solo piano. Then it's got these great hook lyrics and really good harmonies, but just drops into this great Niles Rodgers type inspired groove, I reckon.
Yeah.
Really good synth bass, and flute. This flute comes in as one of the hooks in the song,
Yeah.
does a solo, and not always into flute, especially in popular music, not really into it in jazz, but man, it's used really well in this song. Really well in this song, and it's a great tune. It's when I first heard it, I said to my missus, because I've got a grandson and my daughter and my missus were here. I put it on. I said, guys, listen to this, and we just were all dancing. I was holding on to my grandson, and we were just dancing in the lounge room. And I said, man, I wish I wrote this song. It is banging.
That was another one of my questions. That was going to be another one of the tracks. Was tell me about a song you wish you'd wrote. So I guess that would probably be the same one. I wasn't sure the era when I watched the video, because he's got like a massive like 70s perm mullet going on, and I was like, well, I got the right video here, because I thought these were quite recent. And
yeah. Oh, you must. I reckon you've seen the live one that they do it live.
It was live. Yeah, Live at Heaven, I think it was.
Man, it's that's part of the reason I just love the look too. They look great. I mean, I think it's only a couple of years old. It came out maybe the year before last year. Definitely got that sort of chic Niles Rodgers kind of, in the
I don't know if it was him playing, but I read as well that Tom Tilley from Triple J plays bass with him. Is that him playing on that track?
I think it is, man. Yeah. Right, and
okay.
I think when they play live, Tom Tilley does play bass with them. Yeah.
Okay, track 3. I asked you to get a little bit obscure and left field and pick a B-side or an album track. Now, I'm not going to say the track or the artist, because I'll be honest with you, I can't pronounce her name. So
it's a tough one.
Yeah, I'll leave it to you, mate. Go.
Oh, thanks. Go. I was hoping you would actually pronounce it, dude. Okay. It's Call Me by Michelle Diacello.
Diacello, that's how I was going to pronounce it.
And there's probably going to be some people that will pronounce it better than me, but man, she's amazing. This is off a great album, and I was going, man, this again, any of these songs, this could have been anything. For example, I love Anderson .Paak, that Malibu album, Kendrick Lamar, it could have been anything, but I chose this one because the way she's a great player, she's a great singer, a great writer. But the way the bass, obviously there's a lot of bass influence in all of these songs.
I did pick that up. Yeah.
But the way the bass sits in this song is awesome. So there's some synth bass in it with bass, and she trades off with the synth. But she goes into this sort of like cool groove where she's kind of on the beat, off the beat, and she uses space really well, Michelle. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be busy all the time. You can be, and like in Jacko's song, you can be, but there's times when there's just places to leave space. She does that beautifully in this song, and then she got all these slides, and she's got all these little 16ths fills, and she swings the 16ths in the off beats, and really good use of space, nice chords. And for me, actually, I think on this song, man, she actually uses a couple of different basses, because I think she uses a Fender jazz bass. Then she goes off out into the bridge part, and she uses a Stingray, like a Music Man bass. But really, really good articulation. There's space, good articulation on the note length, and she's just, and then some great music she uses great music. So I think on this track, the guitar player is Wah Watson, who's great, from the Snake Pit in Motown in Detroit. So he's part of the Funk Brothers. Mm-hmm. Part of that great band, who James Jamerson is probably one of my biggest influences. So so Wah Watson plays guitar on it. And actually, Michelle, there was this great documentary called Standing in the Shadows of Motown, because those guys, the house band for Berry Gordy, were just a bunch of guys who sat in what was called the Snake Pit. And, the arrangers for the Temptations and Marvin Gaye would come in with a bland arrangement or some arrangement and just go, here it is. And these guys would just get hold of it and turn it into banging hits, right? It's kind, to be honest, I think it's where funk was really born with these guys, you know. But you know, I think those guys have played on more hit records than, say, Freddie Mercury, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, all those guys. The hit records these guys made were insane, and no one knows about them.
Not even close to being household names.
No, but Michelle did this great. She was part of this great documentary called "Standing in the Shadows of Motown," and it goes through the. I mean, you know, Paul McCartney was so influenced by James Jamerson. You know, I mean, a lot of people don't realize how influential that band from that studio was.
Didn't she sing on that doco?
Yeah, man.
The Temptations, I think. Yeah, that's right. I do remember seeing that. Yeah. I don't think I was aware of who she exactly was at the time, but I've seen Standing in the Shadows of Motown. It's an amazing doco. Yeah, so highly recommend that. I do like to give out recommendations for movies and docos and things like that during the show, like especially music related ones for people to get into, and that is one I would definitely heartily recommend. Standing in the Shadows of Motown. It's a great doco.
Yeah. In fact, it's if someone was into wanting to get into playing good bass, it's also a good university. It's a good school.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. Okay, moving on to track 4, Shane, and I asked you to pick a track that you wish you could play to your 18-year-old self.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this one's going to take up some time on your podcast. I think it's about 7.5 minutes. But
it is. I'd not heard of these, and I didn't know the song, so I gave it a listen. And it was a good 7 or 8 minutes, I think, the track.
Yeah, man. So sorry about that.
That's fine, mate. There's no worries.
Look, man, they're like a Swedish boy band, and it's not the same sort of thing I would normally be into, but they're just giants. What do I like about this song and this band? It's a 3-piece, and the singer's amazing, great keyboard player, the drummer's killer, and there's this bass player called Hendrik Linder, who's just a monster.
He looks like a Robert Smith apprentice or a My Chemical Romance or something like that. He looks so out of place in that band. Yeah,
man. He looks great. I love his look. But they are seriously good musicians. They've obviously had a great musical education, because if you go through their songs, they started out just as a YouTube sensation, doing their own renditions of like Britney Spears, like covers and all that sort of thing, you know. And it just grew, into this thing where they started finally doing their own music. But they've obviously had great education, because the reason I chose it for this song, for what my 18-year-old self was to say, do you know what? You can make really intelligent pop music as an 18, when I would have said to my 18-year-old self, because that's what these guys do. They make seriously intelligent pop music. Their voicings, if you go through their songs, there's, chord progressions in their songs that are just insane. They're more suited to a jazz fusion type chord progression. They use these amazing chords. Their sense of harmony, when I say harmony, not vocal harmony, I mean orchestration, is insane. They have a great sense of composition and harmony. This song, Work Shit Out, starts with this monster, Hendrik just holds this amazing groove on 16 notes, and it's really hard to do. You think, he's just sitting on one chord, but it's a bit like the Deantown Wolfpack thing, where you're just sitting there holding those 16th notes. It's really, really hard to hold that in a pocket and not go out of time. He does it on a 6-string fretless.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Makes it even more insane. Yeah. And he never loses it. They have amazing dynamics in this song, and then the main groove goes into this sort of first keyboard solo, and they build it up beautifully, and then it drops out into this great dynamic, and they build it back up into the B section, and then that guy on the keyboards, man, I used to think he was just a good pop keyboard player, but he lays into this jazz solo, and he's got great jazz phrasing. And then, like through the solo, it starts out in D minor, goes through to F sharp minor, changes into B flat minor. I think it ends in F minor. And there's all this orchestration, amazing chords, and then it goes into this drum solo. I'm not always big into drum solos, especially on a song where it's not live, but it's just done so well. The drum solo's got this it's such a well-recorded drum kit. And then coming out of the drum solo, the bass and the piano just hook into this groove. and they take it out into the bridge. The whole thing is just amazing, and it's so well put together. They're so intelligent, these guys, and it's not intelligent that sort of like loses sort of groove or soul or anything. They've got that in tons as well, but it's just their ability to put together songs like this it's insane. It really is insane.
What struck me about it, and my mate Stu, that I've been on his podcast a bit, and he's coming on my podcast on Monday. He uses a phrase urgent to describe some songs, and that really struck me as a really sort of urgent song. And that guy, he cannot get enough notes in on that bass. Like, he's just cramming them in, like, not like you say, not going out of time, not missing a beat, but he's just trying to. He's like, I made a note here. Steve Vai of bass players, like, he's just like, he's on it, like, you know, he just can't get enough notes in, and it's just so urgent.
I say urgent is a good way. So, mate, you know how I started with forward motion and energy? It's a good way to describe that. There's an urgency there. But he still sits in the pocket doing his role. Really well. But so again, going back to our first song, Come On, Come Over, we kind of got that urgency from Jacko. And then but you know, and then people have made their own sound from it. I'm not saying these guys are all Jacko clones because they're not. But that's a good way to describe it, man. Really good way to describe it.
They struck me as well, was like, probably listening to the, like you say, the intelligence and the melody and the orchestration of it all. I didn't Google it. I didn't research too much into them, but mainly because it took me like all my research time to listen to the but what the impression I got from watching them just in that one video was, I surmised that they were all top of their class at the most prestigious music college or university, wherever it is they're from, and they all met. Like, that's where they came together, is in that sort of environment. That's the sort of impression I got from them.
Oh man, I envy it so much. It's what I wanted, and I've never had that. They all met as kids, and it's a bit like another band I could have put in here tonight. My favorite band at the moment is a band called Wolfpack, and they do the same thing. They were a jam band that sort of started out on YouTube and become bigger than. And there's a bass player in there called Joe Dart, who I absolutely love, and I'm learning a lot of his stuff at the moment. But they started, you know, these two went to music college and just met as mates. And that's living in Yanship and Two Rocks has like not been great for me for that sort of thing. But that's what happened to these guys in Sweden as well. Yeah, young kids that met up as young because they're a Swedish band. And they're huge. I have the utmost respect for them. I as I say, I don't necessarily listen to every song, and I'm not an absolute fan, but of their compositional harmony skills and just their chops. Their chops are insane.
Track 5 is your final track of the mixtape. I'm going to ask you to make a song to let someone know you're romantically interested. Not I would say a classic choice of ballad you've picked here. So tell us what you picked for number 5, mate.
Well, it's an odd one. It is true. I thought about this, man, and I thought about Lakme, the flower duet from that great opera, and so many choices. But I've gone with the Sex Pistols, and I've gone with the song Submission from Nevermind the Bollocks. And it's completely the opposite of the 4th song. We don't have lots of great harmonical orchestration here, but let me just say that I love this album. I love it for its, and I know it was a lot of people have got lots of opinions about the Sex Pistols and this album, but I just love the rawness of it. And I like the way, obviously the producer, I think Johnny Lydon wrote the guy off big time, but the producer was a guy I think called Chris Thomas, and he made that album sound really good. He just made a great rock and roll album. The drums are recorded so well. I don't think Sid Vicious plays much bass on it, to be honest. I think Jonesy did a bit in it, and they got Glenn Matlock back to do a bit. but the bass is sitting in beautifully with the kick drum. The guitar is recorded really well. I'm not saying these guys are great musos. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it's a really good rock and roll album.
Yeah.
Or punk, whatever you want to call it. But this song just kicks ass. This is it's a great riff. Look, Johnny Lydon said it's the closest thing they ever got to writing a love song. There's a lot of stories about it, a lot of myths about it. Some people say that Malcolm McLaren wanted a song to coincide with his sex fetish shop about B&D, so hence the submission.
Yeah.
Johnny Lydon apparently said screw that because he was hating Malcolm McLaren at this stage.
Yeah.
So him and actually Glenn Matlock apparently wrote it over a beer in a pub. And they wrote it. It starts off with submission as a sub. I'm in a submarine. I'm on a mission in a submarine.
Yeah.
Submission. So I don't think it quite got to the heights that Malcolm McLaren wanted to it. But if you listen to it, you got me pretty deep, baby. I can't figure out your watery love.
Yeah.
Knowing Johnny Lydon, I don't think it's as straightforward as everybody thinks it is. There's also he would have sort of put all sorts of innuendos in this song. So if nothing else, to me, it speaks about trying to figure out, you've been stuck not knowing what this girl or boy's thinking and, trying to figure out their watery love. You got me pretty deep, baby. And if nothing else, if it is about a submarine mission, I'm a surfer of 45 years anyway, so it's about my love of the ocean anyway, buddy. So
right, yeah, okay.
That was my romantic version of this song, but it's just a kick-ass song.
I was going to ask you though, have you seen the short series called Pistols? I really enjoyed it. I know everybody's going to say, it wasn't factually accurate, this, that, or he didn't shag her, or this didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. But what struck me about it, which I was maybe a little not as aware of, the series really made Sid Vicious out to be I wouldn't even use the phrase musician. Like, he's just a geezer on stage with a bass guitar, and there's scenes where they're complaining about how bad he makes them sound, and not because he was drunk or out of it, just because he didn't know what he was doing. Do you know what I mean? He was just there for attitude and style and and presence and not for the bass guitar.
Yeah,
that really made me laugh. I really enjoyed that series. I really did. I thought it was immense. I watched it a few months ago and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, me too, man. I thought it was awesome. I did love it too. And you're right. I did see some people, even Johnny Lydon, saying, well, they didn't really, talk to me too much about and everything. But I think Jonesy was the main guy behind it.
He was. Yeah.
But man, it was. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and whether people like it or not, it was. I think it was a seminal moment in music. I mean, they didn't invent punk. I know they didn't invent punk, and I know punk was happening in New York and places like that beforehand. But it was a seminal album, I thought, for the time, and and it was pretty anti-disco, and here I am loving disco and disco bangers and everything. But look, there's nothing better than getting dirty on a floor with a good punk band. I went and saw Last Quokka is a band that I went, and when I saw Abby May last at Mojo's, Last Quokka was supporting them. And that's a great Perth punk band. And it's just great.
Bit of buzz about them. I've heard a bit about them. I might need to do a bit of further research and get them on the podcast.
Yeah, mate, they're killer. They're great.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just on that as well, on the Sex Pistols and their influence. Have you seen the movie 24-Hour Party People?
Yes, I love that movie.
I know, it's great, isn't it? I had Rowetta on a few weeks ago, and I spoke to her about it, obviously, with her being
I heard that. It was great. It was a great interview, man.
Great buzz, man. Honestly, that was so good. I was if you felt nervous about interviewing Abby May, I was absolutely, because as a sort of 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old boy, she was an inspiration, shall we say? Let's leave it at that. So now I am as a 50-year-old man, I'm interviewing her, and I was like, this is mad. Anyway, so that scene where it's at the Free Trade Hall, and it's the first time they play Manchester and the Sex Pistols, I mean, and in the room it's Martin Hannett, Tony Wilson, the Joy Division, the Buzzcocks, Mick Hucknall, everyone was in that room, and whatever, everyone was sort of energized and inspired by that like gig, and there was like 30, 40 people in the room or whatever, and almost all of them went on to do like amazing things in music. Like I think you can never underestimate the influence of a band like the Sex Pistols. Anyone who collects records or anyone who's into music in any way, shape or form, I think you need to own that record because it's an absolute cornerstone of anyone's record collection.
Here, for sure, man.
So that was the mixtape. Thanks very much for coming on, Shane. I really, really appreciate it, mate.
My pleasure, buddy. Thanks for having me. Can
mate.
I just say too, mate, thank you for what you're doing, because I've been listening to a few of the shows and I don't listen to a lot of radio. So I think what you're doing is actually really lifting the bar in Perth radio. So thank you for that, man.
Thanks so much for giving me the promo clip.
Too easy. Thanks for playing it, mate.
Really, thanks so much for your support, Shane. I really do appreciate it, mate. Good luck with the gig next week, and I'll see you at the album launch, I guess.
All right, mate. Thank you so much.
That was a Mixtape podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to jump up to the top of the page and smash that follow button, and you'll be notified every time there's a new episode. Or follow me on Instagram at the Mixtape Perth. Until the next time.